How we doing, everybody, and welcome to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, today, joined by Austin on this great Thursday, a little bit of a preview kind of Thursday here today. We got a lot of big matchups coming up today here, especially for the Badgers. So we're going to be talking a lot of Badgers today. Austin, how are we doing on this Thursday?
I'm doing good. Hey, this has to be like some kind of record. It's the first time in a while we've had both of us 2 days in a row. That's got to be something going for us there.
Well, see, the way that I look at it deep down is I had an excuse for not being here. But I can't say the same for when you weren't here. We can't disclose the information of where you were because, like you said, we got to keep it PG. But that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say is my excuse was there. It was valid. I have I can run downstairs quick, grab my doctor's note if you want my doctor's note for being absent from work. I can give you my doctor's note, but we don't need to go through all the we don't need to go through all the documentation to really prove this one. But this is Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. We got a lot to talk about today. We got the Bucks. They get the win last night against the Pacers. We're going to be talking about them. Badger volleyball coming up tonight against Texas. Badgers in Jacksonville State. Men's basketball tipping off. We got the Packers. We got to talk a little bit more about the Packers and what the heck is going on with Green Bay. Also, we're going to be looking into the NBA a little bit. We got issues upon issues right now in the NBA with Draymond Green. So we're going to dive into that a little bit, and we're going to see where the day takes us. But with that right away, I want to jump into the Packers. Right now, we know we covered yesterday, Packers lose that game against the Giants, and that was a terrible loss. It was one of those losses that if you are Green Bay, you couldn't afford. Not in that situation, not against a depleted third-string running Giants team. And the Packers went to MetLife, and I mean, they got it handed to them. They didn't play well in that ball game really at all. I mean, they almost pulled off a miracle at the end, but did they really deserve it? I don't think so. So the thing that I really want to key in on in this is looking at the first injury report that came out. Wicks, Watson, and Reed all sidelined from practice, all on the injury report now. Reed did avoid a concussion. We thought it was a concussion. He's now just has a ankle injury is what the look is right now. But not having Watson, Wicks, or Reed coming up against a pretty veteran-led Buccaneers team kind of worries me. Really worries me for this Packers team. The things I wanted to talk about, though, with the Packers, Anders Carlson right now for me, he's been iffy. He's been iffy this season. He's made some good kicks for this Packers team, but at the same time, he's been iffy in that field goal department. He had a missed field goal for him here against the Giants. That proved to be actually the difference in this ball game. They could have pulled it off with that field goal there, but, you know, he's a rookie, right? So we got to cut him some slack, right? That's what they tell me. We got to cut rookies slack. I just don't, that's what everybody likes to say. Like, right, Jordan Love. Jordan Love was the key example of that. Oh, it's his first year. It's his first year at the helm, starting quarterback. We got to cut him some slack for these bad throws. When's enough? When is enough enough? I mean, Anders Carlson is paid to get out there and kick field goals for me and to be able to knock them down. He's struggling. I mean, he is in big moments. I don't trust him to be the guy for Green Bay. So what do you do? I mean, what do you do? Right now, in your opinion, are you seeing the same thing I am with Anders Carlson? And he doesn't have my trust. That's the big thing is he doesn't have my trust. I don't trust him that he could go in there and hit one from 30 for me. I really don't. I have that bad feeling when he goes out there. There's some games where he knocks them straight through and he's 4 for 4, and I can't complain. But at the same time, you weigh those misses almost better or more than you weigh those 4 for 4 outings. So it's one of those things where it kind of worries me with Anders Carlson, the way he's kicking right now.
Yeah, I think he started off hot when he started playing right away. I mean, he was kind of making almost all of his kicks, it seemed like, and he was making all of his extra points. But it seems like a little bit down the stretch now, he missed that one against the Raiders there. He's missed a couple extra points here and there. Or not the Raiders, the Giants there. And granted, I think it was like a 45 or almost 50-yard field goal or something, which isn't a chip shot by all means. But when you're in the NFL, I mean, I don't like talking crap about kickers because I don't know if you ever seen if you ever watch College Game Day, you see Pat McAfee. He'll do that kicking
Yep.
challenge, and then you see a bunch of college kids just shanking kicks, and it's like a 30-yard field goal, and then it kind of puts into perspective. Okay, maybe kicking's actually a little bit harder than some people like to think. So I don't like bashing kickers a whole lot, but from a fan base perspective, it is tough to see. I mean, we bring in this rookie, and he shows promise right away, and then it gets your hopes up, and then he misses that one. What I did like to see, or what I did like that I saw against the Giants, he was able to redeem himself. He redeemed himself the next kick, but at the end of the day, like you said, it seemed like that one kick was the determining factor of whether we won or lost that game, and we lost the game. I don't really know. Like I said before, he missed a couple extra points too. He hasn't been fairly consistent these past couple games. Whether he just needs to practice a little bit more or something. Hopefully he can start making kicks. I think moving on from Mason Crosby, even though he's with the Rams now, I think it was a good decision.
He got cut from the Rams.
He did get cut from the Rams. Okay, I didn't know that. But either way, I think
he got cut. I think it was yesterday. I think he got cut yesterday.
Oh, really? Okay. I think it was a good idea to move on from Mason Crosby. I mean, if you're a Packer fan, you got to love Mason Crosby. His number is going to probably be retired in the Packer Hall of Fame, blah, 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 whatever. One of the greatest kickers of all time for the Packers. But he was getting old, and he was barely struggling to make a 50-yard field goal. I mean, honestly, when he went out there for a 50-yard field goal, it seemed like his leg was about to fall off because he was getting so old. He kicked so many field goals. He's about to swing, and the leg was going to go with the ball. So, I mean, I can see why they went away from Mason Crosby, and they had to bring in a young kicker. And so far, Carlson's been doing good, but obviously he's not no Brandon Aubrey like with the Dallas Cowboys, who's also a rookie coming in, and he's like 22 for 22 on field goals or something, and hasn't missed any. I don't think he's missed a single field goal. He's not no Brandon Aubrey. But as of now, we just got to work with what we have, and what we have is Anders Carlson. Hopefully, he can get a little bit more confidence back, and start making some more kicks for us.
You know, the thing that really worries me is that you almost have to get him inside of 40 yards for it to be a solid kick. That's the biggest worry. You know, late game situation, you're down by 2, a field goal can win it, and you got to be able to drive basically the length of the field to be able to put him into field goal range. That's one of those things that kind of makes it a struggle. I mean, this year, as long as 52. He had a 52-yard field goal against the Bears opening day. Other than that, I mean, the Lions, he had a 50-yarder, but you look at his long after that, Giants 48, Lions 43, and I know that's where the Packers are setting him up to kick these field goals, but at the same time, I can only imagine, you look at his percentages there, he's not very good from, I wonder if they have it. I'm going to see if I can't find the stats. Here we go. Kicking stats, he is 5 for 5 from 20 to 29 yards out, 9 for 9 from 30 to 39. You put him from 40 to 49, he's 4 for 7, and 50 plus, he's 2 for 4. You know, so that kind of points you in the direction where you have to get him within 40 yards. You have to get Anders Carlson within 40 yards for him to be almost, guaranteed. So that's kind of my worry right now with him, is that, and you look at his extra points, he's actually missed 3 extra points, like you were talking there, on the season. That's my worry. That's just my worry with this Packers team, is Anders Carlson right now is just that struggle from a little bit deeper. When you push him back just a little bit, the kicks start to get a little wary. And like you said, it's hard to talk because we couldn't do it, and I agree we couldn't do it, but is it going to be a position that the Packers need to address come this offseason? I think possibly. We got to see how the rest of the season shakes out, but it's one of those things to keep an eye on there for the Packers. But going along with that, I just wanted to look at Joel Berry. So we've talked about Joel Berry, and we've talked about this Packers defense. And the Packers defense, if you look at the NFL rankings, they are they're towards the top there in defensive scoring. They're towards the top there in pass defense. The thing that I'm watching right now, and especially against the Giants, 0 pass rush and a terrible run defense once again. You have guys like Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith, Devontae Wyatt, Quay Walker, Devondre Campbell. You have Kenny Clark. You have guys, Lucas Van Ness, and then Inga Barra. That's how you say his last name there, I believe. You have guys
Close
like
enough.
that. Close enough for us. And you have guys like that in that front, and you get zero pass rush against a team that has allowed 69 sacks on the season, has a terrible offensive line, and a third string quarterback in there, and you get no pass rush. And then you look at the run defense, terrible. I mean, we go all the way back. You look at this run defense against the Chiefs. They won that game, but the run defense was terrible. I mean, Isaiah Pacheco ran all over them. The Lions ran all over them twice. It gives you that worry that even if the Packers got into a playoff situation, say against the 49ers, can you imagine Christian McCaffrey against the Packers run defense? He's going to run all over them. Be like a couple years ago, wasn't it Mozart? Mozart for
I think so.
49ers ran all over the Packers defense? Yeah, it's going to happen again. And that's just the problem with the Packers right now. I understand Joel Barry's defense is better in the pass, and they're a good scoring defense. But my problem right now with Joel Barry and this defense is the run. How can you not? I mean, how is it that? How are we that statistically bad in run defense? You look at them compared to other teams right now. Looking at total rushing yards, they've given up 1,844 rushing yards on the season so far to opponents. That's compared to them with 1,382, so 1,382 yards themselves. That is 500-yard difference there in the run category. They're allowing, and then you look at the pass yards. You look at the pass yards there for opposing teams, 2,782. So, and then compared to the Packers pass yards of 3,098. You just look at the difference there of what teams are able to do against Green Bay and not. They're almost running the football for more consistency than they are passing the football. They almost caught them up in yards. So that's the big thing I'm looking at right now is just the struggle in the run defense for Green Bay. And how do you address it? I mean, they have to throw, that falls on defensive coordinator to be able to draw up different schemes to put guys in positions to stop the run. And right now, we're not seeing that. We're not seeing, look at this last game against the Giants. Danny DeVito ran all over this Green Bay defense. And why? Because no pressure. There was no pressure on him in the pocket, and that was the big killer. So, what are you seeing the same thing out of this Green Bay team right now in that aspect?
Yeah, I see a lot of inconsistency when it comes to our defense, especially some drives will do really good. We'll get a 3 and out, and then we'll almost stop the rush. They'll have no rushing yards. Next thing you know, they break off a 50-yard run. It's like, what is our defense doing? What did we do different? And sometimes our D-line just gets beat. Sometimes you just get beat. Sometimes it is the play call that we get messed up, and that's Joe Barry's fault, obviously. But you need to make a team one-dimensional, and I think our pass defense has been subpar, but our run defense is atrocious. And so, if a team's able to do both on you, it's hard. It's going to be hard to win games. I think that's what the Giants were able to do both. And you see, and they went, and you see what happens. They're able to win the game at the end there. So I definitely see that's one of our struggles right now is the run defense. And who knows if we have a full healthy team. We have Kenny Clark in there, Devontae Wyatt, Brooks, and Rashawn Gary, and Preston Smith, and Campbell, and Quay Walker. If we have all these guys in there at the same time, or not same time, but all of our starters healthy, and we pick the right play, we could stop the run easily. But I think it comes down to who you have out there, what play on the defense are you running, and then how is it executed. So, it is tough to see our defense just getting run all over. And like you said, if we end up playing the 49ers, Christian McCaffrey's going to have a field day against our defense. And same as even if we have to play the Cowboys the first round in the playoffs, if we make the playoffs. They got Pollard there, and Pollard's a very hard runner. I mean, he beat out Ezekiel Elliott for the starting spot at Dallas. So, I mean, that just goes to show how good of a player Pollard is at running back. So it will be interesting to see how the Packers play, especially against the Bucs. I mean, I don't even know who the Bucs running back is at the moment, but whoever it is, I mean, we should be able to do good against the Bucs on the running, because I don't really know how much of a run game they have. I know they got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and then they got Baker Mayfield who can throw the ball kind of. So, they can throw the ball. I don't really know how much of a running offense they have. And I mean, I guess we'll get into that on Thursday. We'll see the stats, but it'll be interesting to see how Joe Barry does better this week compared to how we've been doing in the run game.
Definitely. And like you were talking there against the Bucs, they're going to have more of a veteran-led team there, especially with guys like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin out there in the wide receiver room. So it's going to be a test on that secondary for Green Bay. I did see a report, speaking of the secondary, it was talked about it was a radio host he's from Milwaukee, ESPN Milwaukee, Gary Ellerson came out and he said he doesn't think Jair Alexander wants to be around Green Bay anymore. That's what it feels like to him. Move on. I want guys who want to play here. So, Gary Ellerson, to make an accusation like that, he's usually pretty credible. I mean, with what he talks about on his radio show and everything like that, it's an interesting topic to bring up there because we've been wondering the same thing. Jair Alexander, for weeks now, he's been limited participation in practice every single day. He's at practice. He's practicing. He's not full, but he's still there. And week after week after week, now we're finally getting to, probably 4 or 5 weeks of him being limited participation, but not showing up on Sunday. And then this news breaks here. It's kind of interesting to see there. I don't know if I can believe it. I don't know if I can believe it. But at the same time, we've been wondering the same thing. Why are we not hearing anything? Why is Jair not out there? Limited participation all week. He's practicing, so why isn't he showing up on Sunday? Why aren't we seeing him out on the football field? It kind of brings it all full circle there, so you kind of wonder, is the rumor true? You don't want to believe it, but at the same time, if Jair doesn't want to be there, we got cornerbacks in the room already, so, I don't know. I don't know what to believe with that whole story breaking.
Yeah, that is interesting. And being a player like right now, let me tell you, the practicing is practicing. You have to do it to get ready for the game. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's grueling, but you play football to play the game. And it's hard for me to look at Jair Alexander and be like, okay, why is this guy practicing, but he doesn't want to play on Sunday? Like, I don't get, because you want to play on Sunday. I feel like the games is what you play for. Games are fun. Practices can be fun, but a lot of times it's hard work and it sucks. So it's kind of weird just thinking about that he's practicing. Yeah, it's limited, but why would he not want to play on Sunday? And that could be, maybe it's the trainers telling him or the doctors telling him that he can't. Maybe it's he's limited in practice. Maybe there's some contract. I don't really know the whole contract, but maybe there's some rule where for him to get his money, he has to be practicing a little bit, but he doesn't have to play games. I don't really know. So he's just kind of getting by doing that possibly. I don't know. And then also, I don't know if you listened to his interview. He had an interview one time after practice or something. They were asking him questions. He was he was a bit odd when he was answering the questions. It seemed like he was kind of trickling around why he wasn't playing. He was giving short answers, and it wasn't a Jair Alexander that we're kind of used to. He's usually, when he's answering questions, he's more exuberant. He's answering the question fully, but when he was answering him, he's like, it was a bit odd that when I was watching. I don't really know how to explain it unless you actually watch it, but even my buddy, he showed it to me and he was like, did you see the Jair interview? I was like, no, what are you talking about? And he's like, I don't know, he's just acting weird. So it is a bold statement for this guy to say that it's possible that Jair doesn't even want to play for Green Bay, because there's a lot of factors that could go into that. And I think being on the outside, we don't know. And especially with the media, there's a lot of things that the media is saying now these days that, take things out of context. And sometimes you don't want to trust it. Sometimes, I mean, if he's super credible, then, I mean, maybe you do want to trust it. But being on the outside looking in, it's hard to judge a person by what they're doing because you just don't know. You don't know the facts. That's my opinion. And, I mean, hopefully Jair wants to play for Green Bay. He's a good player, great player. We just paid him a bunch load of money. Actually, I don't really know when his contract's up, but if you want to find that, but I'm pretty sure we just paid him a good chunk of money to stay in Green Bay and play here. So, I mean, I hope we get our money's worth while he's in Green Bay and he's not just kind of using us kind of like David Bakhtiari where he gets – I mean, granted, David Bakhtiari, I mean, he's actually hurt half the time because he's old and whatnot, but it seems like he's kind of just eating our money and we can't use that money for other players. So I kind of hope that Jair Alexander's not doing the same thing, kind of not just practicing, doing the minimum and then not wanting to play. I don't really know. But like I said, it's kind of hard for me to think that a guy wants to practice or this guy practices but doesn't want to play on a Sunday, doesn't want to play the game because the games are what makes football fun.
Looks like Alexander becomes a free agent in 2027. So we
got him for a while, unless if we trade him.
4-year, $84 million contract there, $30 million signing bonus, and $30 million guaranteed, and an average base salary of $21 million. Holy catsola, guys making bank. Don't know why you wouldn't want to stay in Green Bay for that kind of money. But, yeah, I mean, it is definitely an interesting topic like you were talking there. It's kind of weird for a guy to practice all week, not get in there on Sunday. That's kind of what you practice for there. And, we talked about it. The medical staff for Green Bay, we were wondering the same thing. Is that what's holding them out? Those guys, I mean, we've heard stories they aren't very good. So maybe that's the worry right now in Green Bay. I don't know. I mean, look at the injury report for the Packers sometime. Everybody's on it. It seems like we have to worry who the heck's actually going to be out there on Sunday. Speaking of injuries, A.J. Dillon was added to that injured list with a thumb injury. So if A.J. Dillon can't go, Aaron Jones can't go, Emmanuel Wilson's still out. I mean, you have Patrick Taylor and Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake will get elevated into probably a 1-2 punch there with Patrick Taylor here, coming up against the Bucs. So definitely some interesting injury news out of Green Bay right now. I'm not sure what to really make of it at the moment, but we're just praying for the best come Sunday here. But with that, we just want to talk about one of our sponsors, Home Team Century 21 Gold Key Realty. Call Peggy Sue or Anna to find your dream home, or if you're looking to sell, they will sell your home for you. Find them on Facebook at Home Team Century 21 Gold Key Realty, or stop in and see them in Marshfield. Don't trust anyone else with your home buying or selling needs besides the team, the hometown team at Century 21. But with that, I want to jump over into Wisconsin volleyball. Coming up tonight there, they head to Tampa for the Final Four against Texas. Both the Badgers and the Longhorns, I mean, they rank high in many statistical categories this year. Texas coming off, they're the defending national championship champions from last year. Wisconsin leads the country right now in blocks per set at 4.12. The Longhorns are 7th at 2.89. The Longhorns are 4th and the Badgers are 5th in national hitting percentage. Wisconsin holds their opponents to the 3rd lowest hitting percentage, while Texas is 10th. It looks like, I mean, these teams are pretty evenly matched. I mean, this is going to be a pretty stellar matchup here between Texas and Wisconsin here. It looks like it's set to tip at 8:30. Booking a spot on Saturday to the national championship. Whoever wins this one will square off in that national championship game. So with that, I want to jump over to Austin here. Austin, you said you had some stats pulled up for me for this matchup. What do you got?
Yeah, I was just going to read off some names that possibly, if you watch the game, look out for. First off, for Wisconsin, Franklin Sarah. I think she's up for the National Player of the Year in volleyball. I'm pretty sure she was the Big Ten Player of the Year. But right now, for points, she averages 4.65 points per game. She averages 4.9 kills per set, not per game. So 4.65 points per set and 4.19 kills per set. Honestly, volleyball is kind of tough because I don't really know a whole lot about volleyball. I don't know a whole lot about volleyball stats. So, I mean, if you're a volleyball fan, I'll just read them off to you. You can listen, and then you can judge for yourself. But I know that Franklin Sarah is good. And then Anna Schmeck, I know that she's really good too. Devin Robinson, she's been on the team for a little bit now. I know she's pretty good. Overall, I mean, the Badgers have a really good team here. They've been good. They've been to the championship Final Four many years in a row. They have a really good coach. So expect them to be firing on all cylinders against a Texas team. When I look at Texas, it seems like their top player is Madison Skinner. She averages 5.5 points per set and 4.79 kills per set for them there. And then next is Jenna Winas, and she averages 3.06 points per set and 2.83 kills per set. When I do look at the Badgers, though, they're really good at blocking, like you said. That seems like kind of their strength, especially like we talked about. They average a height of 6'2", and they use that to their full advantage. When you look at the blocks for them there, their team averages 3.1 blocks per set compared to Texas, I got to flip between things, 2.9 blocks per set. I know that the Badgers are really good at doing that. That's one of their specialties. They're really good at killing, not actually killing. Here's my one piece. If you know anything about volleyball, a kill is when they spike it and then it lands in. That's a kill. And that's what the Badgers are good at doing that. The Badgers are good at putting the ball down with a lot of fours in the court. This is going to be a good matchup. I haven't watched a whole lot of volleyball, women's volleyball, but women's volleyball has been becoming more and more popular now. I mean, we saw Nebraska. They played in the Cornhusker Stadium in front of almost 100,000 fans, which I think is huge for the sport. And the Badgers, they've sold out the Kohl Center. They sold out the last time when they played Nebraska in the championship. That got sold out. Volleyball is becoming more and more popular, and I might tune into this one. I kind of watched when they played Nebraska in the championship. I tuned into that one, and it was a very good match. I think it went into 5 sets. So I might tune into this one. Texas overall is 26-4, 17-1 in conference. The Badgers are 30-3 overall, and then 17-3 in conference. So 2 very good teams. It's going to be a very good matchup, and the winner is going to take on the winner between Nebraska and Pittsburgh, which I think is going to be a very good matchup. And who knows, we might see another Wisconsin versus Nebraska in the championship, which I think is going to be huge because they split the series in the regular season. So that would be a fun one to watch.
You went into that, you told me you knew nothing about volleyball, and you sold me on it. You sold me on, I got to tune into the Badgers, Texas, coming up tonight. They're from Tampa, Florida. Should be a heck of a matchup. Can't wait to watch it there. 8:30 is the first serve from Tampa, so can't wait to check out that game. But with that, I want to jump over to Austin here. We got to get to our fact of the day.
Trey, I just want to point out before the fact of the day, you are wearing a Texas Longhorn sweatshirt, so don't really know what's going on with that.
I picked
I feel a little bit betrayed right now.
Bad attire for this. Yeah, I know. I didn't really think about my wardrobe before we kind of got into this. I'm sorry. That is my bad.
As long as you don't wear it tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. when the Badgers set off, I mean that is fine. But I mean, I just went into that deep dive in, and then you're seeing you're wearing.
Tomorrow, about this time, no, way before this time, I'm going to have my Wisconsin Badger cut the net shirt on from the Final Four, because that is my good luck Badger shirt for when the Badgers are playing basketball. So I'm going to be wearing my Badger gear already. We're going to get into that here in a second. But first, you kind of just killed the vibe. But we're rolling into
I'm sorry. I just had to point that out. I just had to point that out because I saw it and it made me a little mad. But as we were saying, fact of the day, on this day in 1930, the New York Giants defeat Notre Dame, a college football team, 22-0 in a charity game. Even though it is a charity game, I don't know how the New York Giants only beat Notre Dame, a college football team, 22-0. I guess the game was played in 1930, but I thought that was interesting.
That was definitely an interesting fact of the day right there. It does prove college teams can play with NFL teams. I don't think they can today because I think
probably not today's age. Yeah.
Yeah, but back in the day when it was a run-first league, it got a little bit different. So interesting fact of the day there. Right now, we got to jump over into the Badgers basketball. The men's basketball preview, they're taking on Jacksonville State coming up here tonight. That will be hold on, 6 o'clock tip there from the Kohl Center on Big Ten Network. Number 22, Wisconsin, coming into this one 7-3. Going up against Jacksonville State, coming into it 4-6 on the season right now. ESPN likes the Badgers in this one. Looking at Jacksonville State, they haven't really played anybody yet this year. A lot of lower-ranked teams there, UTSA in there, USA, UIC in there, ETSU. The Badgers coming off a loss to Arizona, but 4 wins before that. The Badgers have been playing pretty good basketball as of late. So let's jump to the stats right away, Austin. What do we got for stats for this matchup here between Wisconsin and Jacksonville State?
Yeah, to start off, Jacksonville State. Listen to this name, Kai Tandy. Got a nice little ring. Kai Tandy. He's averaging the Gamecocks with 17.4 points per game. After that, it looks to Quincy Clark for them, 10.2 points per game, and then Jawan Purdue has 7.7 points per game. After those three, it's a lot of guys with single digits. 6.1, Marcellus Brigham Jr. He has 6.1 points per game. Not a whole lot going on for the Jacksonville State Gamecocks. Like you said, I mean, they're 4-6. They're first in the Conference USA, but 4-6 overall. Hasn't played overall very good competition like the Badgers have. But, like we've seen multiple times, like Western Illinois put up a fight against the Badgers also. So you don't know what you're going to get out of these random teams. I think it'll still be a very good game for the Badgers. Moving it up to 6 o'clock. Who knows how the Badgers might feel playing at 6 o'clock. But overall, I think the Badgers should be just fine. But for Jacksonville Gamecocks, look at Kai Tandy and Quincy Clark to be making a lot of plays for the Gamecocks.
And in this one against Jacksonville State, it's going to be a big thing for Wisconsin to be able to get that post-game involved again. Looking at that last game against Arizona, Arizona took the post-game away from Wisconsin. Stephen Crowell and Tyler Wall were kind of non-factors for this Badger team. I think that's going to be a big thing in this one, is to kind of get that post-game back going here. Had a few point-blank misses. Other than that, they had some issues there in the post and in rebounding. The Providence game, go back to there. They had struggled there. And now, after that, we thought they kind of shook those problems out. And now against Arizona, it proved to be we still can't compete there in the post. So, got to get the post game back going. They need to, in this one, they just came off a big bender. You had Virginia, SMU, you had Marquette, you had Michigan State in there. You played some tough, and Arizona. You played a tough schedule. You got to avoid this being that trap game, the game that you don't really look forward to. You got to win this one. You got to take care of Jacksonville State. This is a lesser opponent. You got to be able to take care of them in this one. And I think is going to be a big key in this ball game is I think the Badgers, we're going to have to see them start to establish a rotation. Connor Essegian played 8 minutes against Arizona, but you got to see them start to kind of put together a rotation here moving forward. Something along the lines of how often are we going to see guys in ball games here? We can't just see the starting five the entire game. We got to see the bench get involved here a little bit. Connor Essegian, he's still the best three-point shooter on this team. We know that. He just hasn't been given the time to get it going. This game against Jacksonville State and again against Chicago State, we got to be able to see a little bit more Connor Essegian. Maybe see him start to get going heading into Big Ten play. You can't wait until Big Ten play starts to get Connor Essegian involved here. It's going to have to be early on that we see a lot of Connor Essegian here. I expect to see him a lot against Jacksonville State. Should be a good matchup for the Badgers there. Some of the key players, like you were talking there, about Jacksonville State. I just want to cover my key players for Wisconsin here. I'm looking, like I said, the big guys. I'm looking at the big fellas for Wisconsin. I'm looking at Tyler Wall and I'm looking at Steven Crowell. Those two have to have some big games here for the Badgers to get that post game back going here. And then I also look at Connor Essegian. Like I was talking there, we got to see Connor Essegian get going at some point here, start to establish himself a role here for the Badgers. And I think these two games coming up here for Wisconsin is going to be the big ones. And, you know, like I was talking there with the holidays coming up here, the Badgers have to be able to keep themselves poised. I believe that they have like a 10 to 15 day stretch where they're only going to play about 2 games in that stretch there of 10 to 15 days. So that's going to be a lot of composure. Got to keep it together. You know, the holiday season is coming up and the Badgers are going to have limited action. So you got to be able to keep yourself game ready and be prepared for these matchups here. So I think that's going to be another big thing for the Badgers is the kind of, especially coming up here, to keep themselves poised. Chicago State actually just upset Northwestern last night there, 75-73, number 25 Northwestern. So that's the Chicago State team that can score it, and the Badgers have them coming up after Jacksonville State. So this is definitely a game against Jacksonville State where Wisconsin needs to get right. But I'm shooting for Tyler Wall and Steven Crowell and Essegian to be my big players in this matchup here. Who do you got? Who are your guys to watch out for the Badgers? Who do you expect to lead them?
I think John Blackwell is going to have a big game off the bench. He was one of the better players against Arizona. So I want to see him continue to progress and hopefully fight for that starting position over Max Klesmit. I want to see Max Klesmit also do better too, though. I want to see him do more than what he did against Arizona, score more points. And then AJ Storr, I mean, he's always a huge player for the Badgers there. But like you said, Steven Crowell, I mean, he's 7 feet tall, 247. When I look at Jacksonville State, their biggest guy, Mason Nicholson, he's one of their starters. 6'10", 280. So this guy has almost 40 pounds on Steven Crowell. We saw Steven Crowell when he went up against a kind of a bigger guy against Arizona and how he played. Seemed like he wasn't the same guy. So even though it is a Jacksonville State Gamecocks team that hasn't played very well, they still have a pretty big guy there in the center, and it'll be interesting to see how Steven Crowell plays against a guy who maybe has a little bit more mass than him. I hope he still is pretty dominant, and I want him to still take advantage. He still has 2 inches on this guy, so hopefully he can use that to his advantage also.
Definitely, 100% agree with you there. And in other college basketball news coming up tonight, Marquette will also have a ball game. They're going to be taking on St. Thomas from Minnesota there at the Pfizer. So Marquette will also be in action along with Wisconsin for any of you Marquette fans out there. I hate Marquette. And I can hate Marquette. I saw some guy, he was talking and he said, well, you know, you can be in the same state and you can still like the opposing team, you know, stuff like that. And he's in this group on Facebook and he's always talking about how Wisconsin fans should just be okay with Marquette and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, why? Why would I? Do you think Florida fans like Florida State? I don't think so. Do you think Texas fans like Texas Tech or Texas A&M? No. Do you think Georgia likes Georgia Tech? I don't think so. Duke, North Carolina, I know they hate each other. So, I mean, you look around and it's like, why do I have to like Marquette? I will openly tell you. I will tell you when Marquette plays. I will tell you when Marquette does good. But I will never cheer for Marquette.
Yeah, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Okay? Imagine you're Marquette and you got the whole state of Wisconsin against you. I mean, look at how many people cheer for Wisconsin. When you're Marquette, you got what? The school that cheers for you? Maybe some people in Milwaukee. I mean, you virtually got no one that cheers for you except for your school. So, I mean, outside of them playing the Badgers, I don't really care for Marquette. I'll cheer for them. I hope they do good. Last year when the Badgers didn't make the NCAA tournament. So, I mean, when Marquette made it, I was cheering for them. I hope they were going to win it because they're kind of like my secondary team right there. I mean, if the Badgers aren't going to do good, I'll cheer for the Badgers first, secondary Marquette. But when they're playing against each other, Badgers all the way. That's how I'll say it.
Exactly. And for that day, you hate Marquette. That's just how it works. That's just how the rivalry works in Wisconsin. You can't like them. You can't go out there and say, oh, well, whoever wins today, I'll be okay with it. I'll be okay if Marquette wins. I'll be okay if Wisconsin wins. Now, no, it's if Wisconsin wins, I'm happy. If Marquette wins, I'm pissed. I mean, that's just how it works.
And it's once they start talking crap. That's when I draw the line. Okay, because you haven't beat Wisconsin in the past 10 years. I don't even know how many years. So stop talking crap saying it's your year, okay? Because it's never – oh, is it 3? Well, stop talking crap. I don't care. I don't care, okay? You just lost to them now, and you'll probably lose them next year and the year after that, okay? You had your chance this year. You had your chance this year. You're ranked number 3, and guess what? You failed. So see you later, alligator.
I agree with you. And talking about some good, we're going to get back to some good stuff here. We're going to get back to some good stuff. And that is Game Day Supply in Onalaska. Christmas is right around the corner, and you got to finish your Christmas shopping for your sport enthusiast, your athlete, whoever it is. Check out Game Day Supply. They have everything you need. They have hockey gear. They have baseball gear, softball gear. They have everything you could possibly need at Game Day Supply. And if you have a youth program or even an adult program, they do custom jerseys at Game Day Supply. Check them out in Onalaska at Game Day Supply, or check them out online, gamedaysupply.net, or their Facebook page, Game Day Supply, and you can get exclusive deals through Game Day Supply. We're going to be running a gift card. We're going to be running a gift card giveaway here pretty soon for Game Day Supply. So keep tuned in to be able to get involved with that. But with that, let's jump right away into the Bucks and Pacers recap. We had a little bit of interesting ending to that Bucks Pacers game. Bucks won it 140-126. I mean, okay, I shouldn't say that. Giannis won it 140-126. The rest of the guys were just there for the ride along with Giannis. The Bucks played a pretty good game there in this one, 140-126, like I said. Controlled it for most of this ball game here. Let's jump to Austin right away at the stats, and then we'll kind of dissect this game here a little bit.
Yeah, very interesting game there, like you said, especially towards the end. But overall, the Pacers, they were able to kind of keep within. I mean, I don't know how the game kind of seemed like it was back and forth a little bit. You look, I mean, after the first quarter, it was only 33-36. Then it was 30. Then they scored 30 and 34. So the Bucks kind of had the lead, but I mean, the Pacers kept it close all the way until the end. But looking at the stats for Indiana Pacers, Miles Turner and Tyrese Halliburton both had 22 points. We kind of said it last time that those were going to be their biggest players, and it kind of showed. But this time, the Indiana Pacers did not have as much of a support staff as the Bucks did this time. I mean, Obi Toppin had 5 points, Brown had 9, and then Buddy Hield only had 7. Besides Miles Turner and Tyrese Halliburton, their next two scorers was Naismith with 12 and Matherin with 14, and those guys came off the bench. They didn't start. So when you're looking at the Pacers, almost everyone on their bench played. For both teams, almost everyone on their bench played, which is kind of weird. I'm pretty sure you did say the Bucks were up by almost 18 at one point, and then we kind of put our last guys off the bench in, and then they ended up coming back there. But it was good to see everyone get some playing time, especially for the Bucks. But the Pacers bench, I mean, they put up some numbers. They definitely outscored the Bucks bench. So when we look at the Bucks, though, Giannis, like you said, the Giannis show, Giannis kind of took over here. 64 points, 14 rebounds, double-double. That's a lot of points right there. I mean, you've seen some other players. They've scored 70 and whatever, but who cares? Giannis, he put up 64 for us there. That was huge. Damian Lillard also put up 21. That was good to see from him, especially when you see Giannis kind of taking control and scoring so many points. Damian Lillard still be able to provide 21 points for us there was kind of big. And then Bobby Portis off the bench, 19 points. We were saying this earlier. We want to see that production off the bench, and Bobby's been giving it to us here for these past couple games. He's been coming off the bench and providing a little spark, so that's good to see from Bobby. Chris Middleton, only 29 minutes, still a little bit limited there, but he had 14 points. Brook Lopez, you were kind of saying how he's been doing a little bit better. Well, he only put up 6 points this game. That's I mean, he was 1 for 6, and then he went 4 for 4 at the free throw line. So only 6 points from Brook Lopez there, and then Beasley only 7 points for the Bucks. What I see when it comes down to one of the main reasons why the Bucks won this game, I mean, you can look at the free throws. We shot 48 free throws. 48 free throws, and we made 37 of them. They shot 32 free throws and made 25 of them. So, I mean, just looking at it right there, I mean, that's 37 points, and that's 25 points. I mean, that's a lot of points. That's 12 points difference right there. So not only Giannis put up 64, a lot of Giannis's points did come from the free throw line. I mean, he shot 32 free throws also. He went 24 for 32, but he shot 32 and he made 24. I mean, I say that's a pretty good day for Giannis right there. If you I mean, that's probably right around how good of his percentage has been these past couple of years. And then also looking at overall the rebounds are pretty even. I mean, we had 43 rebounds and they had 45 rebounds. Offensive rebounds, they had 16, we had 12. But, I mean, considering how Andre Drummond was when we played against I can't remember who it was when we played, but Andre Drummond had like 16 offensive rebounds. We just talked about him. Keeping Miles Turner to only 4 offensive rebounds, and I mean, keeping him to only 9 rebounds in general, I feel like that was a pretty good job by the Bucks. I mean, it limited the second chances for sure on the offensive side. I mean, if you want to say that the Bucks defense still is struggling, of course. I mean, we gave up 126. And the last time we played them, we gave up 128, and the game before that, we gave up 126. I mean, at this point, you can just say that the Bucks are going to give up 100-some points every game. It just determines what kind of offense are we going to get. Are we going to get a Giannis dropping 64 points every game? Obviously not. But I mean, can we get the Bucks somehow beating them, getting them 130 points? Maybe. I don't know. I think that's what it comes down to. It comes down to what kind of offense are we going to get from the Bucks, and that will determine if we win or lose the game. I don't know. The defense still struggle. I do want to say that, especially when we have such big of a lead and we're allowed them to come back like they did. I didn't watch the game because I don't pay for Bally Sports. I never will pay for Bally Sports. But you watched the game. What do you have to say about this game after watching it?
Well, like you were talking there, bench points was huge. 61 bench points coming from this Pacers team compared to the Bucks 28. The big thing for the Bucks in this one compared to the other games was controlling the fast break points. The Pacers only had 19 fast break points in this ball game. Transition defense was better by the Bucks, slowing them down. Points off turnovers, 29 for the Bucks, 24 for that Pacers team. But the stat I wanted to look at was second chance points, 25 second chance points by this Pacers ball club. 16 offensive rebounds go along with it. You got to be able to keep them off the second chance boards. That's a big killer for the Bucks here, is to get second chance points, 25 second chance points. You limit it to half of that, that's your defense right there showing up. So that's kind of where I'm looking right now, where they need to address is limiting second chances for opposing ball clubs. And it's game by game we're seeing this offensive rebound after offensive rebound. The Bucks got to be able to rebound a little bit better. They have the size over top of this Pacers team. I mean, Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis, Giannis Antetokounmpo, you got the size over top of most teams. So you got to be able to outboard them. And this was another game where, I mean, you're outboarded once again. So, I mean, that's a big thing that they need to address is rebounding if you are the Milwaukee Bucks. I think that'll, like you said, this Milwaukee Bucks team, they're going to give up 120, whatever it is. You just got to be able to score more than that. That's how the Bucks season's going so far. That's the way we're projecting it's going to continue. I just got to see the rebounding get a little bit better from this Bucks team. And I think that's what, if they do that, I think like we saw in this one, 25 second chance points, the game, that 100, it gets up to like 110 then. You limit teams to 110. Now you don't have to score 140 to win this ball game. Now the bench can stay out there at the end. I think that's going to be a big thing for the Bucks moving forward there. But all around, good win. There was a fiasco, though. There was a fiasco after the game there. Giannis was a little bit upset, and it turns out it was a miscommunication. So Giannis after the game, we were sitting there, we were talking to each other actually, and all of a sudden we're like, what the heck's going on in the Bucks game right now? I saw Giannis take off, didn't know what was going on. He was fuming. The Bucks and Pacers actually had an altercation in the tunnel after the game there. I saw Jay Crowder and Cameron Payne down there. Giannis and Halliburton had a heated exchange on the court. They did get the ball back from the they thought that it involved the Pacers taking the game ball away. I don't know why. I don't know why they took it to begin with. Apparently, they took the game ball, and Giannis was fuming because I saw him bolt down the tunnel, and then he came back out, started screaming at Halliburton, and then, I mean, he walked away after that, did his interview, and everything was A-okay. Got the game ball back, though. It looks like Bucks security was able to retrieve the game ball for Giannis. So, good news there, but a little bit more heat to this rivalry that is starting between the Pacers and Bucks. That was interesting.
Yeah, that is also weird why the Pacers would take the ball, especially with the game being played in Milwaukee. Wouldn't Milwaukee supply the basketball if it's played in Milwaukee? That's what you want to think. So why are they stealing our balls? Why are they stealing our balls? Especially Giannis's ball. The man scored 64 points. Let the man have the ball, all right? You're in the ball. Let him keep the ball. I don't know why Tyrese Halliburton's touching Giannis's balls, okay? That's all I can say. I don't really know. I think it's pretty silly, honestly, like you said, we were kind of sitting here watching. It seemed like it was kind of a bigger fiasco than it actually was. Well, I did see Giannis. He kind of got tossed at the end there. Maybe that had a little bit to deal with the frustration. Then they took his balls away, and then he got even more mad, and then stormed off the court, came back, and it was a lot. But who really cares? We won. We beat them finally, and that's all that matters. And we're sitting top of the division at 12-2 at home, 17-7 overall. They're 13-9. So overall, it was a good win for the Bucks, and they keep winning at home. You love to see that. Let's just hopefully when they play on the way, hopefully they can get some away wins now. That'd be good for the Bucks.
Completely agree there, and I just love it. I love the altercation because it adds a little bit more spice to the rivalry.
I do like. Hey, I like that we're starting to get a little rivalry. I feel like the Bucks. I mean, it seemed like the Bucks and the Celtics kind of have a little bit of a rivalry, maybe Bucks and Philly, but we haven't really had like a in-division rivalry. You know what I'm saying? I mean, maybe the Bulls, but the Bulls have been kind of crappy the last couple of years, and it's kind of just been the Bucks at the top. So I honestly kind of like this. I mean, it's definitely a change-up. You know, the Pacers are actually decent for once. So, like you said, a little bit of a rivalry brewing here, and I kind of like it.
I agree with that 100%, that it's getting a little bit more spice. We don't see rivalries very much in the NBA anymore, and this is kind of adding to it. It's getting a new one. So that is awesome to see. But with that, I just want to talk about Pittsville Farm and Home Center. At the store, they serve you anything from hydraulic hoses to red roses. They got it all at Pittsville Farm and Home Center there in Pittsville. Stop in at the store or check them out on Facebook there. Pittsville Farm and Home in Pittsville, Wisconsin. So with that, I want to jump over into the Brewers a little bit here. Actually, before we do that, we want to talk about Draymond Green here. That's what I was going to do. I forgot completely about Draymond. I want to talk about Draymond Green. He threw a punch yesterday there. He punched Nurkic from the Suns yesterday. And now, apparently, he has been suspended indefinitely for striking him there. He is now suspended indefinitely from this season. The suspension will begin immediately. He'll be required to meet certain league and team condition before he returns to play. He choked a guy this year. He's punched a guy this year. When's enough? When is enough enough? I mean, I got to be honest. I've always liked Draymond Green. I've liked his fire that he brings to this Golden State Warrior team. I've always loved him on the defensive end for the Warriors. I thought he's been instrumental for the Warriors over the years. I just don't know when's enough. When is it enough? I mean, right now, I don't think Steph Curry has got control over that team anymore because the way that Draymond Green's playing, I don't think Curry's really promoting it. So right now it's a mess, and I don't know how you could bring Draymond Green back at any point here soon. with full certainty that this isn't going to happen again. You would have thought after the Rudy Gobert incident that, he got talked to and that he was understanding. Now this happens. And, it wasn't really called for what happened in that situation. He threw the punch and he got ejected from that one. Now it's suspended indefinitely. I just, when's enough? When is it enough? And when do we have to finally just say, okay, Draymond, you got to get out. You have to get out. We've had enough. We try to make this thing, like we try to make the show PG. We try to make it PG so that kids can watch. And now you're throwing punches on the basketball court and you're choking guys and it's becoming more consistent. So when is enough out of Draymond Green?
And also to add to he punched Yosef, whatever his last name is, the choking of Rudy Gobert. And then also we had the altercation with Jordan Poole that he had with his own teammate when Jordan Poole was on the Golden State Warriors. Seems like a little bit of an anger management type thing. I don't know. I don't want to judge anyone, honestly, because everyone's going through their own problems in the world and who knows. But after I looked at the clip after he punched Yosef, it didn't even seem like nothing was really bad going on. It looked like it was a normal basketball play. He was trying to post him up, and he was tugging on him a little bit. But, we've seen more egregious things that's happened in basketball. And then to go around and then I just don't know what he was thinking. Like, trying to swing. I don't even know. I can't remember what the clip looked like. He swung around and absolutely, just slapped him, right? Pretty sure that was what it was. It's like, you got to be thinking. You got to be thinking. You got to be using your brain. It's almost like when Zaza Pachulia – or no, yeah, he's been also like a little bit of a dirty guy when we saw with Kawhi. But didn't Draymond Green also kick a lot of guys in the lower region too? I'm pretty sure there's been a couple incidences.
He's had some incidents with kicking guys in the manhood.
Like you said, when is enough enough? I'm sure he's going to be out for the rest of this season at least, and who knows how long for next season, and who knows if this guy's even going to play basketball again. I'm sure he's made enough money now playing basketball. He probably doesn't even care anymore about the money, but I thought he just signed a pretty big contract too himself.
Yep.
If I can remember.
He signed this max extension with the Golden State Warriors. And to add insult to injury, they basically had to trade away Jordan Poole for Draymond to stay. For Draymond to sign that extension, they basically traded away another one of their scorers. They have a scoring issue this year, and they don't have Jordan Poole anymore to help them out. So,
they don't have Draymond Green now. So, what are they winning now? Probably nothing. Yep, at least they still got Stephen Curry. At least they still got Stephen Curry.
They got Curry. They have a very slow Klay Thompson, and they have Chris Paul.
Do they have Andrew Wiggins even?
Wiggins is out there. They still have Wiggins. They have, Looney's okay, but they're missing another scorer on that team. The Warriors are a mess. They are a mess. The dynasty might be falling right before us, and Steph's just going to have to watch that baby burn. That's about where he's at.
I say this. If the Bucks start losing and we don't like our coach, come on over, Steve Kerr. Come on over to Milwaukee, huh?
Bring Steph Bang with you, though. Hey, I'll take no defense in the backcourt if I can have Damian Lillard and Steph Curry on the same team. I'll take no defense. With Giannis.
Giannis, Steph Curry, Dame Lillard. And then we can put, we'll put Thanasis out there with him.
Middleton and Thanasis. That'll be our starting five. They'll roll it. They'll roll everybody.
That's all we need.
We don't need size. We're just here to score it. We got 64 from Giannis, and the other two put up 60 apiece themselves. That's just how it would go.
That's 120 right there. We just need Thanasis to score 2 points per game, and we'll be fine.
We'll be fine. I hope he can muster up 2 points a game. I think he can. I'm right with you.
I hope so.
But we got to jump over to the Brewers here. We got some interesting news out of the Brewers. Rowdy Tellez first, not really that interesting. Rowdy Tellez has signed with the Pittsburgh Pirates. So no more Rowdy Tellez in Milwaukee. The Brewers have announced, though, that Johnsonville owners are going to be teaming up. They're going to become members of the ownership team right now. Ralph and Shelley are both natural fit to join the ownership here. They love the Brewers. They've been season ticket holders for a very long time, sponsoring the team and the legendary racing sausages that the Brewers have. And now they will be joining the ownership team. hopefully that brings the Brewers a little bit more of the moolah, a little bit more money to be able to spend there now that Johnsonville is getting a little bit more involved. But now to the big news. There's a couple of stories I want to cover here. The Brewers apparently knew what pitches were coming when they were playing the Cubs in the 2018 season. It looks like they were talking to, I think it was Eric Kratz there who said it. And he said that they had a coach over there, Brandon Hyde, who was in there with Contreras, and they were blatantly, basically showing they're showing their signs, basically. So the Brewers are kind of being accused of stealing some signs there from the other team in legal ways, of course. It was legal. They were just stealing them, signals from the dugout there. But that was an interesting story that I heard out of there. Also, another story that broke is that a reporter has Christian Yelich linked in a trade right now with the Toronto Blue Jays. Looks like John Heyman, so a pretty, credible guy. He came out and said, I've heard that the Blue Jays are kicking around Christian Yelich, who has a full no-trade clause from Milwaukee. Now that the Blue Jays didn't get Ohtani, he said, didn't get Soto, they want a left-handed bat, and I heard they were kicking around Yelich, who has no trade from Milwaukee. So interesting news there. A lot of fans are kind of excited for it. Getting Yelich out there with Vlad.
The question is, who would we get for Yelich?
I don't know. The Blue Jays don't have a very loaded up.
They got what's his face? Who'd you enter? They got Varsho out there. Let's bring Varsho back to the home state, huh? Bring old home Dalton Varsho. He's a good glove and a good glove.
The only thing that kills me is you can't get an outfielder in that trade. They would need to get a shortstop, third base, first baseman out of that deal for Yelich. Something along those lines to make it work. I'd love to have Dalton Varsho.
Well, because Varsho plays outfield, and then he played catcher for the Diamondbacks, I'm pretty sure, too, a little bit there, but got moved to the outfield.
We do need a backup catcher. We do need a backup catcher in Milwaukee. Dalton Varsho could be an option.
He's a left-handed hitter, too. He's a left-handed hitter, too, so.
It would definitely – it's definitely an intriguing thing, and it wouldn't honestly surprise me that the Brewers would talk about shopping Christian Yelich just for the simple fact of the loaded-up outfield room that they have right now signing Jackson Churro, and you have Sal Frelick, Garrett Mitchell, Joey Wiemer, Tyrone Taylor, Blake Perkins. You have a loaded-up outfield room. Yelich is just adding to it. Matt Arnold came out and said Yelich won't be playing first base. You're going to run out of room for guys here pretty soon. So it would not surprise me if Christian Yelich was eventually on the trading block in some way, shape, or form. It really wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Like you said, I mean, he's not going to play first base. We have a stacked outfield. So pretty much what is he, a DH kind of now? I mean, I don't really know how old Yelich is. I don't think he's that old, but I mean, he's getting older. We're still owing him money, but I mean, if we can get a trade from someone that has a lot of talent but still a little bit younger, we don't have to pay him as much. That would help us and has a future. But it seems like whenever we trade away a star player, like Josh Hader, for instance. What did we get for him? Some minor league guys, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Seems like whenever
it kind of turned out the trade did in the end. We got William Contreras technically in that deal for Ruiz. Yeah. But I mean, I see what you're trading away guys, and the talent is potential. We're getting potential talent. I agree. This would be, in my opinion, this would be a trade if the Brewers made. You got to get some proven talent, somebody to be on the big league ball club when they break camp here.
I say we trade Vladdy for Yelich. Done deal. Sign it.
Straight up. Vlad for Yelich. We'll send it out there. You can have
There's our first baseman, baby. Or third baseman.
If only it was that easy and the Blue Jays would actually take that trade. We'd be golden.
I should be a GM. That's all I'm saying.
You'd be a solid GM, but I don't think that many other GMs would take your deals. I'm going to go with that.
Well, hey, all I'm saying is when I play Madden, NFL Madden, and I'm GMing around, all I'm saying is I get a lot of deals done. That's all I'm saying.
You can't force the trades in real life. You can't force the trades in real life like you can on the game.
Well, you can only try with money, which the Brewers don't have, so it doesn't matter.
We don't have much, but you know what we do have? We have Johnsonville owners now jumping into the ownership group. So we got maybe some more Johnsonville brats. I don't know.
I'm gonna be buying more brats. I'll tell you that much. Summer comes around.
All about the brat.
I'm buying some more Johnsonville brats.
Hey, there is nothing like a good old brat off the grill with a little bit of sauerkraut, maybe some ketchup on top of that, and just put
Come on now. Now you're speaking my language, Trace. Now you're speaking my language.
I tell you what. Tomorrow night, I'm breaking the grill. I just got my appendix out, so somebody's got to come to my house. You got to come to my house. You're going to drag my grill out of the garage because I can't. I have a restriction, so I can't. And we're going to fire that bad boy up. We're going to throw some brats on there. We're going to grill up. I don't care that it's cold out. We're going to grill up.
Do you get little toasty buns, too? Little toasty buns, huh?
Toasty buns, a little bit of sauerkraut. You bring the kraut. You bring the kraut and the buns. I'll have the ketchup and the brats, and we'll let it roll.
The old lineman in me is talking too much right now. It's gone too far. All I'm thinking about is food, so I need to shut my mouth. I just need to shut my mouth.
He's done. He's done for the day, and we are done for the day. Because with that, that's about all we have for today. We'll be back tomorrow, but hey, there's a lot going on tonight here. We got the Badgers volleyball taking on Texas. Make sure you're tuning in there. Badgers basketball is in action against Jacksonville State. We're going to be coming back tomorrow talking the weekend preview. A lot of stuff to preview there for this next weekend. But with that, this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trade. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you guys back here tomorrow. But until then, deuces.